Most people think that procrastination is a discipline problem. But you know what? It's not. And I know that's what you've been told, right? Be more disciplined, try harder, fix your habits. But let me ask you something. If it was just about discipline, then why do you keep falling back into the same pattern? Like, seriously, think about it for a second. You get motivated, you make a plan, you tell yourself, okay, this time I'm actually going to do it. And then what happens? You hesitate, you overthink, and then, you stop again. So it's not that you don't know what to do, it's that something in you doesn't follow through. And that's not a habit problem. That is an identity problem. You don't procrastinate because you're lazy. You procrastinate because deep down, you don't really see yourself as the kind of person who follows through. And that didn't just come out of nowhere, that got built over time. For a lot of us, it started early. Maybe you were the quiet one, the quiet kid, like I was, the one who stayed in the background. Not the loud kid, not the confident one, not the one people pointed at and said, that one is going to go somewhere. And nobody had to say it directly to you. You could just feel it. The loud ones got attention. They got encouraged. They got seen as leaders. And you kind of learn to stay in your lane, Stay quiet, don't draw too much attention, don't take up too much space. And over time, you start playing that role, not because it's who you are, but because it's what you practiced. And then years go by and now you're sitting there with ideas, with ambition, with things you actually want to build. But when it's time to act, you hesitate. You overthink. You pull back and it feels like, well, this is probably just who I am. But it's not who you are. It's just the identity that you've been reinforcing. And this is why productivity hacks don't really fix this. I mean, some of them work for a bit. You get a little momentum, you feel good for a few days, but then you fall right back into the same pattern. And it's frustrating, right? Because you start thinking, what's wrong with me? But nothing's wrong with you. You're just trying to change your behavior without changing the identity that's driving it. You're trying to change the behavior without changing the identity that's driving it. And you can't just sit there and say, okay, from now on, I believe something different. I mean, that sounds nice, but that's not how it works. Your brain doesn't really listen to what you say. It listens to what you do. There's a part of your brain, your survival system, that's always asking, is this safe? And for some people, like me, that system is louder, more sensitive to risk, to judgment, to putting yourself out there. So when you try to post something or ship something, create something or speak up, that system kicks in. Don't do this. Stay safe. Don't embarrass yourself. And look, that's not weakness, okay? That's just how you're wired. But if you always listen to those warning signals, you're just going to stay exactly where you are. So now the question is, how do you break out of that? I mean, seriously, how do you break out of it? How do you break out of a pattern that's been running your life for years? A pattern where you hesitate every time it matters, where you overthink everything, where you get excited about something and then you just drop it. How do you break out of a system where every time you're about to move forward, something inside you just pulls back? Because that's what this is. It's not just procrastination. It's a loop, a deeply ingrained pattern, a system that keeps you stuck in the same place, thinking the same thoughts, making the same excuses, becoming the same person again and again and again. And the worst part is it feels normal. Like you don't even question it anymore. You just live inside it. And if nothing changes, this is exactly how your life plays out. Again, how do you break out of that pattern? Well, not with motivation, not with discipline. Let me tell you, the way you break out of it is with rebellion. Rebellion is the moment you stop obeying that pattern, not because it disappears, but because you decide that it doesn't control you anymore. You feel the fear and you do it anyway. You feel the doubt and you move anyway. You feel that resistance, and instead of backing off, you push through it. And yeah, it's uncomfortable. It's supposed to be uncomfortable, because you're not just changing behavior, you're disrupting an entire system that's been running your life. So here's what people don't really expect. When you start doing this, you rebel. That voice doesn't go away, the self-doubting voice. It actually gets louder. The inner doubter shows up stronger than ever. And this is where most people stop, because they think, wait, I thought I was fixing this. Why does it feel worse? But it's not worse. You're just finally facing it. And this is important. That voice, it's not your enemy. It's a part of you that's been trying to keep you safe your whole life. So don't go to war with it. Yeah, acknowledge it. Say to it, yeah, I hear you. I know you're trying to protect me. But then you remind that voice, I've got this. You don't need to be in charge anymore. And then you act anyway. This is the process. First, you awaken to what's actually going on. You start to see the pattern for what it is. You realize this isn't just laziness or a lack of discipline. It's something deeper. It's a loop you've been stuck in, often without even noticing it. Then you change those inner forces that are holding you back, not by pretending that they're not there, and not by trying to silence them completely, but by recognizing them for what they are. Parts of you that are trying to keep you safe, but that have been given too much control. Finally, and just to be clear, when I say radical action, I don't mean you go to do something crazy, okay? It's not about blowing up your life or making some massive dramatic move. The radical action I talk about is actually much simpler than that. It's small, but it's deliberate. It's acting in defiance of that voice that's trying to hold you back. So when your mind says, don't post this, don't ship this, you post, you ship. When it says, wait until it's perfect, you publish it as it is. When it says, you're not ready yet, you do it anyway. That's radical action. Not because the action itself is huge, but because for you, it goes directly against everything that's been keeping you stuck. And when you do that again and again, you're not just getting things done. You're proving to yourself over time that you're not that person who can't follow through anymore. In order to help you do this, I've put together something called the Rebel Creator Blueprint. It's a free 3-part training, video training and workbook that walks you through this whole process step by step. This isn't theory. This is everything that I've had to work through myself. So off you go. You've got work to do. I'll see you in the next session.